Hey, what's up, y'all? It's Matt from Dlux Fab. Today we're talking supers. Show y'all how to build super tires. Now, for clarity, this is the second time I've done this. So far, built two. And now I think I have everything in the right order where I can go through and show you in a relatively short amount of time how to do this from scratch. So, you're going to order your super wheels from us. This is the spider web version. They're going to come unassembled. You're going to need to build those. It's pretty self-explanatory. Thin ring on the inside, thick one on the outside. Next, the next step from there, once you do that, you need to wrap this. We use Lexan. So I wrapped it. It's a flat piece of Lexan. You cut it into strips. That's the right width for the wheel here. So it lays right in there, as you can see, with the lay in there. So then you wrap it around. I use Shugu, or E6000 I think it was. And I put glue here, and I wrapped it around, taped it up real tight, and let it dry overnight. Now I'm going to trim this little tab off. But when I glued this, I got to clear this out yet. You can see there's a little bit of glue flashing here. I got to get all that out of there. I'll do all that in a minute, because the tire needs to glue right in that little edge. Alright, so there's the wheels, more or less. Pretty simple for any hobbyist to do. So, assemble the wheel, wrap it in Lexan, glue it, let that set up overnight. Wheels all set. Now, I'm using Rovers to build these. These are white dot Rovers from Hot Bodies. You can get them on eBay. The reason I'm using them is, here's one, uncut. I'm using them because they have this line here. It's a guide. That's what I'm using it for. It makes these tires relatively good to use for this purpose because you have a nice cut guide. So now, to make these tires, I needed 8 of these. I needed 8 Rovers, 2 Rovers, to make 4 super tires. Some guys get by with 6. I'm not sure how they do it. If you follow this method, you're going to need 8. Otherwise, you're going to have one tire it's going to have more than 2 seams in it. It's going to have 3 or 4 little seams in it. You don't want that. So now to cut these out, I got a curved scissors. Lexan scissors are good for that. I'm going to pinch it up right here. Cut me a hole. Then you're going to cut right along the inside of this line right here. There you go. Little starter hole. Get your scissors in there. These are curved scissors. You're going to cut right along the inside of this line here. The closer you can get that cut to straight up and down with that extra little, I guess that molded in line, the better off you're going to be. We're going to clean it up with a Dremel when we're done, so if it's not perfect, it's no biggie. Just, you want to leave this line. Hope you all having a good day. Everyone's getting ready for the Arizona Summer Shootout coming up. Time of filming, that's not this weekend, but next weekend. Pretty stoked about that. I've been to Prescott once before, long time ago. Looking forward to going back. Alright, there we go. You can hang on to these if you want to do some other tire work later. You have a 2-2 sidewall. So, now, like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. You look close here. I left a bit of a ridge there. We'll clean that up here in a minute. We're going to go ahead and do the other side too, just to show you all how to do it. So you pinch it up, make you a little duckbill hole. Now, please bear in mind, guys, like I said, this is only the second time I've ever made a full set of super tires. So the other set was years ago. Another little tip: as you're holding these scissors, try to keep this perpendicular to the tire. Otherwise, you're going to get a weird shape of a cut. The cleaner and flatter these cuts and stuff are, the better this will glue. If your cuts are at all weird angles, there's not much rubber to butt up against each other. So the glue joints won't be as strong as they could be. Y'all notice when I run up on these nubs here, I try to get a big old bite of that. That way it cuts it. Otherwise the rubber likes to try to flow around the scissors. It's weird. Alright, so I've already did the other one. Here and here. So here's our treads for our super tire. Now we need to go through here and clean up in here. So give me 1 second. I'll do that with a Dremel. Here, I'll show you what I'm using. Just the old, standard, cheap-ass Dremel. I use a stone wheel more than I use a sanding wheel. This is a not variable speed on this old one. It doesn't have variable speed, so it tends to throw the sanding drums. It tends to do this, disintegrate them as soon as you turn it on. So hold on a second, let me sand this edge and I'll show you. Let me get everything set up and I'll film showing you how to sand that. Yeah, you get the point. Alright. Now I'm only going to do a little bit of this right here because it makes a hell of a mess. And then I'm going to go outside and do the rest. But it's easier to show you in here where the light is and all that. So hopefully you can see it. I can zoom in if need be, but we'll try it. Got a little ridge here. The goal is take this little ridge here on the inside out, and then have the entire thickness of this piece here where to glue to the wheel, because you're going to glue this surface to this surface here of the wheel. So we want that smooth, and being that it's on that line, you have almost twice the amount of rubber of meat there to glue to this. So I like to do this before I cut the thing out because this is a lot easier to handle. Alright, you all get the idea. You want light, consistent passes. And you want to continue to go the same direction. Just light, touch, light, touch, light, touch. Until you see this little line here. If you see that or not, there's a little line there. That's the edge, inside edge of that right there. So you just want to erase that. And this little edge of this nub here, you want that just to go from having that bump there to being smooth. You see where it's just disappeared? Stop there. And you want to hold this at a perpendicular angle here, because you want a flat surface here. That way, when you go to glue it, you got a nice flat perpendicular surface. That's how you do that. Dremel those up, clean them up, because that's mess you don't want in the house. And then I went to the sink, washed them in hot soapy water with Dawn. Soak for a few minutes. You want to try to get all the mold release agent that's on these off. Best you can. You don't want that stuff on there when you're trying to glue it. Next step, we're going to make a cut. Now, when you go to make this cut, straight scissors, And I like to pick a point on the tire that's got a pretty good guide as far as how straight you'll make your cut. So on these Rovers, right behind this point, see this is the longest straight line, kind of straightish line on the tire. So that's where I like to cut it from. So what I'm gonna eyeball. Make sure you hold your. I'm gonna eyeball and cut across here. Now it doesn't have to be perfect. You can come back and trim it, but the more time you put into this, when you fit this later, I'll show you in a minute, the better it'll look. So we're gonna go straight up here. One cut straight to the edge. And cut just as straight as you can across that. Like I said, just do the best you can. So you got a little warble there. No big deal. Same on the other one. Make sure to cut at the same space, same place between the flat and this. That's the way I'm doing mine. That way the tread pattern will match up. Now, any variation in this, we'll fix in a minute. All right, now. That cut's pretty good. Now, what we're going to want to do is make sure that these are going the same direction. Points forward. Points forward. Now, we're going to wrap this in kind of like so. Because you want to keep that tail out of the way. So it's not fighting you on trying to glue. Then I think what I did last time. So you want to just fiddle with this until you find a spot where this lays together kind of comfortably. Right? Does that make sense? You want it to kind of naturally sit where you're going to want it to hold the glue to set up. Now we're just going to eyeball this around. You see that little warble there? It's not quite perfect. There's a little high spot there. I'm just going to trim that out. The more time you spend on this part of the fitment, the prettier your final product will look. So far on this side, I'm pretty happy with that. This is going to take a little more, I think. Kind of line the middle up, lay it together. Yeah, I think we can work with that. I think we can work with that. So now I've tried several different glues here lately and not had that great of luck with these tires. I asked around the people who know such things and have made lots of these tires. Say to use Loctite 406 for these tires, or the Losi Thin. This is just some regular thin CA. So I found this stuff works, but it just takes longer to set up, which is weird because it's the thinnest CA I could find. Now remember, careful, easy. You don't need a lot. Now just find a spot where that'll sit. And we're just going to worry about where we glued it right here. Try to hold that in a good position. Now when I glued up an old set of Rovers, you can probably see them off to the side there. I used an old set to kind of make a practice tire before I committed to this idea. And the old rubber for my tires that are probably 10 years old Rovers, glued up beautifully. Boom, boom. I mean, glue, adhesive, I mean, it all just 5 seconds later, this was perfect. What I found on these new production run tires, I have to hold it way longer. I had to scrub it with hot soapy water. And then the glues, the 4 kinds of glue I have, none of them work that well. So, now that that's set, we're going to move a little further along it. See, it kind of set there out of place. I don't want it glued back there yet. Perfect. So now we're going to roll this over. We're going to put a little bit more glue on this joint here. Remember, guys, a little bit. With this thin, I'll always start a little far from where I want to go because it'll run down. Perfect. See, just about 3/8 of an inch there. I'm just kind of roll these 2 pieces together. And then we're going to hold them. Once again, I stay ahead of the joint because it's just going to run down because it's so thin. This glue is thin. It's plenty. So I got a little extra on there. Don't worry about that. That'll wear off. The hardest part I find is sitting still enough for the glue to get a good bite. You probably see on camera I'm moving ever so slightly and I can see the glue move. And the quality of the cut is the simple best thing about the glue joint, or simple most important thing. The straighter the cut, the more area those 2 things are touching, the stronger that glue joint's going to be right there. So that went a little further than I wanted because we got that little bobble there. But you see what that bobble's going to be, guys? I think we're just going to accept that for as good enough for who it's for, me. Remember, a little bit. The glue's thin, it runs. So a little dab will do you. Remember, guys, this hand fitted stuff, you can be as good as you can make it, but it doesn't always have to be perfect. But put in the effort and do the best you can. So I got a little bobble in it right there. I'm not sure if I can fix that or if it's going to be what it is. Now we need a little bit right here on the end. It's already got some on it, but add a little more. Hold this bead here together. There's your 2 pieces of tire glued together. Not perfect, but we'll take it. We're just going to set this aside. Let that set up. Now, here's one I've already done. Same deal. You watch me do it. But this one's already been dried. There's the seam. Plenty strong. Good to go. So now we're going to take our wheel. It's already got that on there. That's fine. I need to clean that groove out here. Hold on a sec. Alright, so we got that cleared out. Just got to make sure that these areas here, your tire's going to glue right to that. So you make sure that's good and clean. What I did, I got a little bit of E6000, like that kind of pooped out when I glued this together. So I had to get all that cleared out. Now, since I've already made 2 tires, I need to check my direction. Right? So, these 2. So that's like my 2 left side tires. So I need to make sure I make right side tires for this one. So these go that way. But now we got all the tire. What we're going to do is work our way around and we're going to pin it on. Or tack it. I guess if it was welding, you'd be tacking it. We're doing the same thing with glue. So it needs to go this way. More or less. So we're going to wrap it. Like you see here. Check our direction again. Okay, cool. I'm going to put something underneath this wheel here to lock it up. That'll make that lay real nice, right? So that way it's, as we work our way around and glue it, it's all comfortable. It's all relaxed where you want it to be anyway. So this, now for this part, I'm using I think it's a medium CA. Still pretty runny, but it's not quite what I'd call thin. So a little glue here, just a little bit of time. We're going to work our way around and glue this to the wheel, and we're going to find our length. We're going to find out how long this is going to be. You know what I mean? Find out where we need to cut it and make it all match. So we're going to glue that nice flat space we created there to the thick front of this wheel. Now you're going to glue a couple inches at a time, as you see. And give it a second, let it set. And we're going to tack our way all the way around. Most of y'all getting this by now going, oh, I see what he's doing. I know where the hell this is going. So let's peel it away. Remember, we can always come back and add a little more glue later if we miss a spot. It's no big deal. Right now we're trying to tack it in to find that exact how much tire we need. We want this to look nice because that's the side of the tire that's out everyone's going to be looking at. And then later on we can come back any loose spots and add more glue. That's not a big deal. You want to make sure you're not pulling or stretching on this though, because you want it to lay comfy. You know what I mean? It's, see where it just kind of fell into place there? That's what you want. You don't want to be pulling on it or tweaking it. It's no good. Once again, just a bit. And we're going to lay it on there. So the glue struggles I've had with these tires have been different. See, this is just regular Proline glue. It glues the tire to the carbon beautifully. But sometimes it struggled to glue the tire to the tire. Super weird. Maybe it's like humidity that day, or maybe I was holding my mouth wrong. I don't know. Now, as you all know on the website, we don't typically sell this all together unless you're buying a kit. If you wanted to buy a full set of super wheels and tires ready to go, you can shoot us an email and we can get them for you. Just be aware, it's not going to be cheap. It's going to take some time. And the time part I'm showing you right now. This does not, show the hours I've spent just figuring this process out and figuring out how not to make a disaster out of it. So I can, I showed y'all my first try on YouTube like this. Yeah, I'd never hear the end of it. But don't be scared to take these projects on, guys. Let's say you made these tires up and you made the tires on the wheels and the tires are crap. Well, just cut them off and start over. The rims are expensive, but tires are just tires. So don't be scared to try. You probably got some old tires you're not using anyway you could use for this. Like I said, guys that are vets and done a lot of this, chuckling at me right now doing it this way. Like, man, take it the long way, Matt. But it's the best way I could figure to do it that would be consistent and show a good result in accordance with my skill level of tire cutting and gluing. Which, as y'all can see, is pretty minimalist. So if I can do it, you can do it. I'll give that a second here. We have the basic tire more or less made. So I'm going to pause here and then give this about 5 minutes to kind of set up, and then we'll come back and we'll show you how to make all this go away. Alright, now that's had a couple minutes to set up. We can wrap this tire the rest of the way around that one. We kind of see where we need to put it, where we need to make our cut. So, as happens, it appears that, best I could tell, you're going to see me sink or swim here. I need to cut that right there. And we're going to have to trim all this up, but it's not the greatest spot because there's not really much of a straight line there to be had. But we're going to find out. So it looks like it needs to be cut to me. You see that meets right there, here, in between here. Straight as best as I can get, best as you can get it. We'll take some trimming regardless, so. Got our extra here. See, there was a seam already in this piece. Because I thought 6 tires would do it, but it wasn't enough. So now, oh hell. See, I left a gap there. I'm going to have to figure out what to do about that. Shit, bear with me. So I'm recording this, I probably shouldn't. I'm gonna show you, basically have to show you all what I told you not to do. I'm going to stretch this a little bit. So where I've already glued it, I'm just taking my X-Acto and cutting that fresh glue joint. Right up against the carbon. So none of this is permanent. Boom. See if I can make that work or not. If I need to add a piece. I'll show you the finished result. Yeah, I more or less messed my cut up on that other side. Let's do the side we can first so it's supported. I'm sure the OG guy's been doing this for 20 years. They're like, look at this rookie gluing tires together. He doesn't know what he's doing. No, but I'm trying. I'm doing it. I'm making it happen. Nope, too much glue on there. That's alright. Make a mess like I just did, it'll wear off. Not the end of the world. Couple of packs. Dig, burn. That won't even be there no more. Now, if y'all in the comments below, if you see, I can see exactly what I did wrong there when I glued that other side up, or when I cut that other side. But get tips, tricks, pass them along. I'm not a pro at this, nor will I be. But I'm gonna get this set in the right spot. Put that bead to stick together. I'm gonna let it set up. Then we're going to come back and address that other side once the rest of this is dry. And I'm not worried about messing up the good part of it to fix the part that I hacked up. What I ran into is I was gluing this around and I made my cut. As I laid it up against the tire, I ended up with a gap here, like a pie shape, like this, for lack of a better term. And both cuts were straight, and I was trying to figure out how to solve that problem. So, like I said, you guys that have been doing this a long time are laughing at me right now, but I had to sort it out. So, what I did was, if you don't glue about this, I don't know, a little less than half the tire, or just tack it with the glue, and then trim it up. And then, once it's loose like this, you can pull this together and glue your seam as I have here, on both sides. You come together, meet your bead up, glue that up and hold it. Then you can roll it over. Same thing on the other side. You meet this bead up and hold that, and then work your way to the middle. After that sets, you get a pretty good result there. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for me. So now that we got that done, that was kind of an ordeal, and I had to problem solve because I didn't run into that on the first couple tires I made. Now this white, this fresh glue, it rubs right off. That's no big deal. So that's glued about 3/4 of the way. So we're gonna glue, now that I got that seam made, we're gonna come through and finish gluing this all up, and then we can do the foam. This glue here is AKA medium. Has a little handy little tip on it, or it's a premium AKA, I'm sorry. Premium. Comes with a little straw. That's super cool. So I'm just rolling this tire with my thumb. I'm just laying a section of glue in here. I'll come back later and glue all the spots I missed. When I'm done. Got much time to set that. Now go back. That's not too much glue, but it'll be fine. This isn't a super hard job, but man, it is tedious. Maybe if you're artsy crafty already and this is like up your alley, you can make some decent money building tires like this. People will pay for your services. Heavy on the glue there. Alright, that's pretty much glued all the way around. We'll let that set up for a few minutes and then we'll set it aside. I'll show you the foams now. Push that right there. So when you get these foams, see, this is all taped up, I'll show you. It's just a flat piece of foam. You can go to Joann's or whatever craft store, find some foam that feels suitable to you and test it. Buy a sheet of it, you cut it into strips, and glue the ends together. Here's like I did there, that's why it was taped up. So I taped it up like that, I wrapped it a couple different ways. In between there, butted the ends together, taped it, let it sit all night. tire foam. So that's how that works. So I'm gonna give this glue 10-15 minutes for it to flash off and set up, so I don't make a mess everywhere. And then we'll show y'all how to get these foams in there, glue the rest of the wheel up. All right, hang on. All right, y'all. So now that's set up and dried enough to handle, not make a mess. What we're gonna do, we're turn this inside out. Like so. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and back these seams up with another line of glue here and here. I'll let that set up again. Pretty basic. This is just to ensure that if I missed any little spots, any voids in there, you'll see. Get the strongest joint right here we can. Now we're gonna let that set up, then we'll install the foams. Talked about the foams. Now let's install these foams. Like I said, these are just go to Joann Fabrics or wherever, craft store. Go over there and poke the foams. Comes in big sheets and you can just glue the ends together. Like here, make whatever foams you need. So that's all in place. We'll stretch the tire over here. We got kind of sort of in there. Don't want to get the foam twisted, so that'll take a second to kind of work out. I'm sure, like I said, some folks are laughing. Say, man, I did this the other way and it worked so much better. Well, put it down there in the thing below. Tell me how to do it. I'm open to learn something new. Now, bam. Get that more or less poked in there. We'll glue this edge. And we'll have a tire. So we'll pick a spot. Go an inch or so. Lay in there. There we go. I'm excited to get these done, guys. The rest of the Super's coming along just with these tires, so I'm ready to play with it and drive it. I'll show you guys, do an overview, talk about Supers and all that fun stuff here pretty soon. You guys understand this concept. Glue an inch or two, I skip an inch or two. Then I'll glue an inch or two. Just trying to make sure I get the lay in there the way it needs to really get in there. Poke that foam home. Go again. I'm trying to take the best care I can to make sure how that bead lays down in there. That's what's going to give us its strength. Oops. That's done. Alright guys, I'm going to glue the rest of this up. I'm not going to make you watch me. Hold on. Well, there you go, folks. That's all glued in. Forward and back. That's how the super wheels go together. That's how you can make the tires, the foams. It's a lot of work, a little bit of trial and error, but tell you what guys, see, that'll rub right off. So will that. Alcohol wipe will clean this that little wipe there off. Once this is all completely dry, it's not gluing to my fingers like it is now. All that'll clean right up with an alcohol wipe. So, all right, guys, there you go. Super wheels and tires. Thanks. See ya.